So in a sense, emotional intelligence could be one of the traits necessary for resilience. If you are emotionally intelligent, there's more chance. Like it's probably I would say like it's not in the thesis that we're going to talk about today, but in life, if you're emotionally intelligent, you're probably likely to be a bit more resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the 4 basic emotions are sad, glad, happy, and angry. Am I correct?
Well, I wouldn't I wouldn't know that.
I mean,
like,
there's a whole scale of them.
Yeah.
But they,
Yes.
if you nutshell
it makes sense. It certainly makes sense.
If you nutshell it, that's probably what they come down to. And, you see your co-worker out and is struggling. She's having a really rough day. And you just go and dump more work on her. You're lacking emotional intelligence. Or you come home and your husband is obviously frustrated and you're like, well, and you start leaning in about your day rather than hugging or touching.
Yeah. It's true that emotional intelligence involves also the empathy for others.
Yeah.
It's not only being able to identify our own emotions, but it's also being able to empathize with other people.
At least that's how I look at it. I guess more than that. So we go to the big question. Drum roll, Marlene. What does this emotional resilience look like?
Yeah, in everyday's life, right?
Yeah,
that was the... Yeah. So... to talk about that, I'm going to quote Gita Arjan, it's almost word for word. So she talks about the history of her parents. Her parents survived the Holocaust. And so she, in those 2 passages, she tells about their story, like what her mom told her about that and what her dad told her about that. And some excerpts, it's like there were specific moments in their story where she was able to identify more of the resilience of her parents. So for her mother, there's a section that she called, if I can't go through the door, I'll go through the window. There
Makes sense.
So in that section, Gita tells the story of her mother, so there was a point in the story where her mother was trapped in a train, and she just felt that she needed to escape. And then so she started climbing through the window. And someone yelled, what do you think you're doing? And she answered, if I can't go through the door, I'll go through the window. So after that, I talk about that, I can still, she has so many examples that would make me cry all the time. But so Gita, ask yourself after that, how did my mother know when to run when she did? She would not likely have survived if she hadn't made the split-second decision. So she adds, I can't go through the door and I'll go through the window instead. Or if I can't go through the door, I'll go through the window. For Gita, it demonstrates the resourcefulness and sheer intuition that she drew upon to survive her many trials. That's for her mom. So that's an example of the thesis, how she goes and finds out the characteristics of resilience. So for her mom, she identified that her mom was bold and non-compliant, intuitive, action-oriented, resourceful, charming, had the ability to sing and laugh and make friends. And of course, she had an ability to maintain presence of mind and be present to fortuitous opportunities that might come along. So, it's a bit different than, I think they're deeper, they're a lot wider, broader than what we usually think of when we talk about resilience. And you see this thing about being bold and not compliant. Often we will judge someone, oh, they're not compliant. Or she even you'll see in the next excerpt that I'm talking to you about, she talks about how her mother was domineering. And all those traits are usually something that we judge as being negative. But in this circumstance, it was really helpful. And I would say in our life, you come on. I don't want to. You were going to say something.
I think being non-compliant, there's always a time to not be compliant.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when I
So,
was...
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, it's... Well, there are things that your parents tell you not to touch the stove. I was the kid who always touched the stove. Okay?
Yeah.
I had to find out for myself. Always was that way. There's right and wrong, like, you know, always look to, you know, two sides of the street. But there are times in your life when your gut just says, hey, this is not, it's not the right thing for me. It might be the rule. But
does it suit me? Does it work for me?
Yeah.
Do I still believe in that? Like this ability, the critical thinking is important. And I think for that, like she even talks about people who were, there was naive, like some Jewish people didn't believe that it would be killed like they were. And so it led them to their death a lot more quickly.
It was horrible.
And apparently it's an insult in Israel, or like when you want to talk about someone as being naive, it's an insult because it reminds you of like the naivety you had, and it brought your debt. It brought debt upon you.
I mean, it's like in work. Sometimes, I mean, we live in a very fast-paced world that's constantly changing. So there's a lot of emotional resilience there, and knowing, you know, what we need to work, to get through the day or to thrive. We don't want people to just merely survive. We want people to thrive. So the culture that we find ourselves in sometimes is, when do we know the difference between being emotionally resilient to a situation and when the situation is really just beyond it?
Exactly. And it's all, what belongs to me, what belongs to the other, what belongs to the situation.
Right.
So you're showing me now that we are tight in time. So I'd like to talk a bit more about how Gita talks about her mother. She says, my mother continued to be a force of nature, fiercely protecting me and my brother at the least provocation, often to my embarrassment. So she says, today, her indomitable spirit informs everything I do. After many years of seeing her as an overprotective, fiercely loving, fearful, worrying, sometimes hysterical, sometimes charming, funny, scary, surprisingly articulate in English, uncannily intuitive, passionate, domineering, controlling, adorable, music-loving, creative actress and singer. I am now in awe of her. I now give her credit for her positive influence on me. The comical picture of my short 24-year-old mother climbing through a train window has served me well. So, this passage really touches me because it's almost like the story of my relationship with my mother. I remember going to therapy the first time with a lump in my throat and not able to express my emotions because I didn't want to be an irrational person like my mother. And my work in therapy has been to embrace every aspect of my mother. And now that she's mine after her death, it becomes like even stronger. But I'm so these things like hysterical, scary, and then controlling, domineering. Usually, it's all things that we try to avoid. But in the case of a mother, and I think it's true of all of us. That I guess that's my message. When we embrace who we are, what we think as ugly and beautiful, it's always like we never know when it's going to come to use in our life. And those things that are often judged as negative are often sign of strength and the possibility for more. So
yeah, I mean, usually something that you dislike, like you in your mom, you may have disliked her for being controlling. But it's often something within you that you don't like. And it's the only way to get beyond it is to embrace it, like you say.
Yeah.
Shoving it down doesn't work because
No.
it just bubbles right
No,
back
exactly.
up.
Embrace it and then learn how to deal with that.
Yeah, and so the awareness starts, and then you
Yes,
move
yes, exactly.
to,
Yeah, that's how I see it too.
yeah. So we're at the end of For the Health of It. Thank you very much, Marlene Gaillon.
Thank you.
Where
Thank you,
can
Tara.
people find you if they require psychotherapy?
Oh, well, my number is the easiest, 916-4953.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in the phone book?
Yes, I am. I am in the phone book.
Okay.
Yeah. And I usually have a website, but it's not functioning at the moment.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on For the Health of It every month. We are moving you to the life you want. Thank you.
All members of the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, you are wanted. We need you to come to the annual business meetings to hear what's happening within your association so that with your help, we can have a more productive year.
Mark your calendars for these important dates. Grand Cayman, Wednesday, April 10th, 5:30 p.m. at the Georgetown Town Hall. And in Cayman Brac, Thursday, April 11th, 12:15 p.m. at the District Administration Building, upstairs, conference room.
Refreshments will be served at both meetings.
Come early, mix and mingle, and catch up with your fellow association members.
There will also be surprises at the meetings, but you have to be present to take part in the fun.
Remember our very important business meetings. Grand Cayman, Wednesday, April 10th, 5:30 p.m. at the Georgetown Town Hall. And in Cayman Brac, Thursday, April 11th, 12:15 p.m. at the District Administration Building, upstairs, conference room. We look forward to seeing you at the meetings.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I love this beat. What do you call it?
We call it the cow itch.
I've tried the short roads to being a man.
Beautiful, beautiful shoreline.
Oh, Cayman moon.
Cayman all-time favorites.
Poor old Robert. Poor old Robert.
Here he comes, Rosito. Come to spray mosquito. All the girls in line, they say, Louis, please spray mine.
Cayman all-time favorites begins right now.
Shadows moving in the night. Better with his light to rise.